Hello, this week in landscaping. I apologize for missing last week. There just really wasn't that much changing. So I'm excited to get into this week. You can see we're going to start with weather. We're going to move to some leaves and then go to one plant. But let's start here with weather, and we're going to talk about turf in the same context here. So this is the next 10-day forecast. We know how accurate that will be, but you can tell that it is still pretty warm here. We're looking in like the highs of 98 today, tomorrow, and then a significant drop off here on Wednesday, and then it kind of keeps it in that low 90s, high 80s, with nights in the 60s, which is awesome. So we're going to feel a huge difference from a weather perspective as soon as this week and Wednesday. And that, I think, is probably the turning point from a season perspective. We might have another day or two in the coming weeks in the mid 90s, but I think we're going to probably stay low 90s, which is fantastic news. But we're coming off the back end of several weeks of almost no rain and pretty warm temperatures. And so you're starting to see that we've got multiple people on our team who are having air conditioning problems, which sucks. And I think basically what's happening is all of the air conditioning, and the reason I'm mentioning this is almost the exact same thing for grass right now. Everything is kind of, we've got a mild summer, we're holding on, we're doing okay, and then like just kind of the very end when we're running out of steam, it's getting really hot, or at least it's holding at a high level, and it's just the ACs are running constantly, the grass is just holding on constantly, trying to survive. Um, and now it's like just like a lot of air conditionings are going out. Now the grass is really looking like it's struggling. My yard is just now this week really looking like it's struggling in the front. I had to run my irrigation an extra time. Don't tell the authorities, in order to really keep it juiced. And I'm hopeful that we get some rain on Wednesday, and then the decreased temperature with the irrigation schedule really holds it in a healthy spot. So this is the plan for what we got going forward. I use Weather Underground, by the way, from a weather perspective. I just think this chart's better. I use lots of weather things, weather apps and stuff, but this is the one that's easiest to visualize all the things at once. So, okay, we're going to the next thing here. This is a goofy picture of me with a leaf. That's just an embarrassing picture. Here we are. But the reason I'm pulling this up in general is we're starting to get a lot of questions from customers about leaves. I want to say one more thing about weather here in a second. We're getting a lot of questions about leaves. And so the deciduous trees are starting to, the very beginning of starting to drop. We will get a huge dump come November-ish when all the deciduous trees start to change. The red oaks, the sycamores, this is a sycamore leaf. So some of them are starting to drop a little bit. We're starting to get some live oak drops. That's still in the future. Remember, live oaks don't drop with fall. Deciduous trees do. Live oaks do drop some here in the next bit, but they don't drop all of their leaves, is what they're called, live oaks. They drop a bunch of their leaves and then reproduce a bunch of leaves this time. And their really big drop is actually in March, which is spring. Okay, so we got leaves coming right now. And then the other thing I should have said with weather is this stuff, like right in here, this is getting to be ideal top dressing lane, whatever. Top dressing is going to be a thing here in about 2 weeks, maybe less than that. When you get if you have well hydrated turf and the highs are in the 80s or low 90s with nights in the 60s, this is when grass is going to be growing and recovering the best, and when therefore you want to be applying top dress. So this window, the first 2 weeks, 3 weeks of October, is going to be probably the optimal time to apply top dressing. And so we're going to send out, well, I think this will be in this week. We're going to start talking about top dressing to everybody. So we can get that going. If you want to read more about it, you can. Okay, leaves. And then this right here, what is this? I hope my team can identify this, but this is a Texas sage. Now, I was at a conference recently. I'm sure I've talked about Texas sages before, but they were talking about how these aren't sages, so they hate the name. I don't remember what family it actually is, but these are very hardy native, depending on your definition of native. Shrubs, there's different varieties, cultivars, nativars, that will grow at different sizes. So you can have a smaller, compact one or a larger one. This one's pretty tall. This is probably 8 or 9 feet tall. When they get to be bigger, they tend to be leggy, so the bottom ends up being kind of sparse. A lot of people don't like that look, so you want a more compact version in order to not have that. But the old name for these things, and when I was excited to take this picture, I took this picture this morning at 7:06 a.m. apparently, was Barometer Bush. And the reason for that is because it was known as a indicator of moisture in the future. So hopefully this thing is telling us that it's going to rain on Wednesday, like we talked about earlier. Sometimes it just happens when you end up watering them. So I don't think this is one of my neighbors down the street. I don't think they watered this part of their yard. So I don't think it's that. I may be wrong. But we'll see. We'll see if it's indicative of the future. So that's what I have this week in landscaping. Hope you're well. Cheers. Adios. See you.